sees me, I'm losing every battle. Can somebody save me, I'm losing every battle. No one ever sees me, I'm losing every battle. No one ever sees me, I'm losing every battle. No one ever sees me, I'm losing every battle. Can somebody save me, I'm losing every battle.
going to come out on top. Wow, what a save. Oh, he's another one! Good evening. I hope my microphone is actually coming through, because this is unexpected. G'day Glenn and g'day Jean, however you pronounce it. How are we, gents?
G'day, Malik.
Good evening. Jean-Pierre. That's fine.
Jean. I just feel like no matter how I say it, it's going to sound wrong. You're a bit easier, Glenn.
Yeah, one syllable.
Like as a person or just his name?
Oh, well.
Easy. Bit early.
It's never too early. We are at Mazzano tonight. It is a support race to kick things off. The weather's looking quite nice out there. Don't know what we're going to see tonight for the Pro-Am finals. Hopefully it mixes itself up a bit, because it's over 2 server days, so fingers crossed for those water lovers out there. What are you guys expecting from this evening? Because last week was absolutely incredible.
It was a ripper, wasn't it? If we get a race that's 50% as good as that, well, we'll be just disappointed, because we want it to be just the same. But no, I think the guys did a great job last week, and looking forward to more of the same today.
Who's your money on tonight, JP?
I'm gonna have to say T-Mac or McInnes in the McLaren. McLaren is very strong here. McInnes looked very good last week on a track where it wasn't quite as strong as the Bentley. Though Van Vliet can always throw in a surprise there, but I don't think the Porsche is particularly competitive around here. So I'd have to say McInnes for me for the win, with let's say Ross in second.
That'll shape things up nicely for round 3 coming up next week at Spa.
Yeah, that it would, and based on my experience with the Bentley at Spa, they can both go in the bin when they're on the same day. So I'm not sure if Braden has a more positive experience around there, but McLaren is very strong there as well. So yeah, it's going to be a tight battle all the way to the end, I would say.
Just what we wanted. Tonight, obviously this support race, there's 26 out there at the moment, and I do spot a car that doesn't get much running. If I can actually fix it on this.
Right.
J. Cruz, where are you on this little lead? There we are. Loretta Engineering. The old Gallardo. Have you driven this car much?
I have driven it once, and then I deleted the file from my computer.
You didn't like it?
It's not a nice car to drive. It's fast in a straight line.
What you're talking about? Don't know what you're talking about.
As I said, it's very safe, stable around the corners. You know, it's I just can't get my head around how it works.
Have you done any laps in it, Glenn?
No, can't say I have.
By that demonstration from Justin, I don't think anyone's going to do it again.
Well, I was going to say that's not a very good example of what it can do. Probably, I'm sure.
Well, another sucker tonight is Sam Bugden, who's gone with the Jag, the old Jag Sport.
So I guess the question is, do you rather drive the Jag or the Ryder?
I'm going to have to say the Jag.
Or the Aston V12?
Oh, V12 for the sound.
Exactly, that thing sounds incredible. Drives like garbage, but it sounds good.
Yeah, if you're going to drive a garbage car, at least make it sound good.
Exactly. So you can cry with a beautiful symphony in the background.
I was just going to say, how many Nissans have we got floating around in here
What's going on
tonight?
I think, looks at that, they're not all the same Nissans. I swear there's a 15 in there. Someone's got it. I'll suss it
That
out.
that looks like it could be a 50.
Yeah, he's always
Just
that.
look for the dining table on the back. That's the 2015 with the massive wang.
Is it that one? I don't know.
I don't know.
I
Even
definitely saw one out there. Bushel, maybe? No. We'll get to the bottom. Maybe it says it in this screen. Oh, you bastard. Well, we purely speculate. I do love the fact that old Ryan Green, who's missed the first 2 rounds now of Pro-Am Finals, who's in the Pro-Am Finals, still finds time before basketball to get out there in the support races. You're washed, Ryan. Absolutely washed.
At least he's still participating in some way. Speaking of the V12 Aston, at least he has good car choices.
Wow. That was a brake check and a half, and I don't think that Nissan's going to be taking him out for dinner anytime soon. That looks like the 2015.
I mean,
Look
could
at
be. Look
that.
at the size of that wing. It's like there's a whole other car on the back of it.
So the only time I'll ever use this view, but yeah. Wow, there's some filthy degenerate driving out there. Speaking of degenerates, here's Corey Swain, pumping his way around in the Lexus. Just getting some extra practice in for tomorrow night Pro Finals. It's filthy, 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 Corey.
I like how Bukita is practicing in the Nissan.
Yeah, it's great. So this is listening to the Sweet 12. Wow, this, if someone's just tuning in to watch, they'll be like,
Yeah, what the heck's going on here?
this racing in OOR sucks. Oh, it's good to see Christoph Holzer out there. I think we saw another one of our European races. Or maybe it was just the one. Jeez, it'd be early for him. Good to
I
see.
think he said he has a day off or something, so he's taking part. Like 10 a.m. in the morning. Good way to start the day, I would say.
Hell yeah. And Alex Pass, who's absolutely triggered me without that capital A.
It doesn't do the ACD any good, does it?
Nah, not when everyone else has done capitals. Alex, please fix that. That's what Michael Pickford used to do until he saw the light. But it's good to have you out there nonetheless as qualifying's finished. It's a quick 20-minute race tonight. Then we kick off the Mazzano Fun Fair with 2 races. One's going to be at night time, so that'll be interesting. Could be our
I should
first.
probably do some nighttime practice to get some tires.
No,
at some
don't
stage.
be ridiculous. Who does that?
Exactly. It's only finals. We show up on the day and drive.
Exactly. G'day, chat. How are we? Dylan, Frizz, Stu, Moritz, Michael, Eamon, Mick Friedlich, who's Holzer, he's out there. Mr. Dale, Hamster, and Oliver. That's a bloke called Peach.
Yeah, he's a bit of a dick. We don't talk about him. But impressive multitasking by Mr. McFriedlich, being able to chat and run laps at the same time. That's a nice OOR livery.
Who's that in the background? We don't have kids here in OOR. There's nothing in the studio.
Sorry, it's the child in the background.
That's okay. Do they want to commentate?
Based on the current sounds, I would say no, if I had to guess.
I just like that wing. I mean the grill. I really love that grill. Many people don't like it, but that's okay.
I'm on board with the grill. I really enjoy it. The only time I don't really like it is on the road going version with the license plate going over it.
Yeah, it does look.
That breaks it up a bit, but on the GT3 it looks fantastic. I think Philippa just did a backflip if she heard that.
Hopefully. By kids, Alex, I'm not sort of meaning the 15, 16-year-olds, buddy. And I was more so meaning the commentary booth. If you're 3 and you can steer a car around a track, you go crazy. People want to feel pain in the Nissan. Well, pain you shall feel.
I mean, to be fair, we were given a free car choice and you chose it. So it's hard to feel sympathy.
Oh, there is no sympathy where I'm sitting.
I like the Christmas theme, the Bentley and Aston on the front row there. Very festive.
I think there's a third one too. I saw them dancing around before. But yeah, that does look great.
Very good.
Here's the other one. The McDaddy. Drekky's just, I think it's Drecky. He's just picked one of the in-game ones. Could not be bothered with that life. There's a matte black one as maybe they're the two I'm thinking of.
30 seconds.
One is black matte and one is glossy, it seems. Otherwise,
I think nearly
Not-
prefer this on the Nissan.
not a lot of creativity there.
20 seconds.
Alrighty.
When was the last time that Philippa
10 seconds.
qualied at P21?
Yes. Yes is my answer. Right, we wait for God knows what. Here we go. JP, take us away.
Thank you. As we get the support race going with a
Those gaps are filthy.
yeah, this is not the best rolling start that you're ever gonna see. We promised people in OOR can ride, just not this particular group as a whole, as they are away. And we expect chaos in turn 1. Hopefully we are disappointed. It seems pretty clean so far. There's another little bit of a clutch point comes turn 4 and 5, so far it was fairly clean, and there's a Bentley that goes around in the back after a little love tap on the inside there, but apart from that, seems to be going fairly cleanly. The top guys are settling in nicely behind each other, no sends or dives so far. The M6 of Fluke goes a little bit wide there. You're going to be looking on the inside, but the legs of the M6 will keep him ahead. And we're about halfway through lap 1, and there's only one slow car at the back, and apart from that, it seems to be fairly clean so far.
Bogdan's made his way to the pits. Oh, no, sorry, not pits. Drive-through already. Wow, that's early.
It's quite impressive, actually. Did he just ignore all the corners in the first sector?
Maybe you took that escape road that's between T2 and 3.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that results in a direct DQ. But there's a guy spectating. Oh, another friend there. I'm assuming they did that together.
For him. Who won the first one of these? I don't know. I swear it was Hamilton or something like that again.
No, Hamilton, remember, he was leading all the way until the final straw out open.
Yes,
Crashed.
that's right.
Yeah.
And he bended. I can't recall who took the win from him, but yeah, it was quite fun to watch. Probably not from his perspective, but
Oh, I just tried to clear that penalty for Bugden. And as I hit clear, he's just come into the pits. I tried to be quick.
yeah, this is also not one of those tracks where you really want to be getting drive-throughs with a pit lane that seems like it never ends.
That's it. Remember last week we did have the competition yellows. I'm going to pull those out of the hat again tonight, so I hope people are prepared. Liam Hamilton over Lewis Hamilton. I like that. I'm sure he will too.
Sure, as well.
Right, who's your pick? Hamilton or Verstappen? Who's going to win?
Yeah, I mean, I would love for it to be Hamilton, and I'd be very grumpy if Verstappen took it with his recent run of racecraft, but I can't see. He's still in with a very good shot at taking it. So. He's just such a dick. Sorry.
Tell us what you really think, JP.
I think I hope it's Hamilton. I would not have said that at the start of the year. Holzer, look for the double overtake if you don't mind, gentlemen.
Lovely.
From Europe with love. And he goes extremely wide there. Nearly bins it, but off he goes. Let's just cycle through the order. Bakita making her way through up to top 10. Yeah, unfortunately, Freestown's not going to happen. If they tie on points, it means Max Verstappen will be the winner. So Lewis has to get more points than him at Abu Dhabi. Is that this weekend or next?
This weekend.
This weekend. Gee whiz.
Which is a
Big
good
weekend.
thing because we don't have to deal with 2 weeks of media drama from
Oh,
everybody.
if you're on Twitter and you're an F1 person, can you not? People should save that and put it in a file somewhere for later and whip it out because, gee, some people's opinions needs to have a formal investigation into.
That's quite interesting. The amount of defending that goes on for drivers and who are not necessarily in the right step. I just like it. I've been wondering if this battle wasn't with Hamilton, who's been so dominant for so long, if Verstappen would still be getting the same amount of praise had he driven the way he's been driving last couple of rounds. That's my big question. Ooh, that's a sin.
It's a sin.
Oh, and look, they're punching right up here.
Oh,
That's a
And
send. Ooh,
that's
that's a send. Ooh, that's a send. Holter's been hit 3 times.
also welcome to AP.
So much for his double overtake.
Nikita is going to appreciate that because that's going to give her another couple of free positions. She's already up to 7th, which is slightly worrying. How quickly she's just slicing through the field. There are no penalties being handed out in the support race. Ooh, safety car. Is safety cars over? Ooh, that was not very nice.
Yes, safety car. That is naughty. Yep, so as last week, these are just fun races. We like to bunch them up. You just have to be aware. People aren't.
Somebody hasn't realised it's a safety car. And
Okay.
there's the outcome.
Well,
Who
it
was
worked
that?
last week perfectly.
Danger car, more like. You know.
Not yet, Ali, but it will be. The unsafety car's currently out on track.
Just back on the F1, what's doing my head in is the whole Toto Horner snooze fest where someone just put them in a ring somewhere and let them duke it out, and hopefully they'll kill each other and we won't have to put up with them anymore.
Well,
Is that-
they can just take Helmut Marker out to pasture, then I'd be more than happy.
The sad thing with that, though, is the way the driving's been, I'm scared that that's some actual thing that's going to happen. Just Verstappen is deliberately running people off track and going off track himself just to hold a spot, and just doesn't seem to care anyone around him. That type of attitude's going to end badly one day.
Yeah, but the biggest problem with that is the amount of the enabling that Red Bull, Horner and Marco are doing with never, ever, ever admitting anything that they did wrong.
Oh, well, Marco's the one that said the all F1 drivers should go at COVID camps. They can all get it and get herd immunity. That type of attitude needs to be completely ridden from anything that's of leadership. Just, yeah, it makes me feel ill thinking of that. But anyway.
Ignat and Hamilton having a good battle up front here.
Yeah, we saw that, Zach. I'm not sure why some people didn't watch chat or read chat, because I'm going to do the exact same thing at about the 6-minute mark. Is that it? The Galado's in 5th. Absolute scenes here.
Things you didn't expect to hear on a Wednesday.
Exactly. Where's the Jag? Oh, Sam, down 22.
Yeah, Sam had that drive through at the start.
Oh, of course.
Keita's moved away up to P3.
Can you add some ballast or something? Oh, jeez, it's not even an effort at the moment.
Can actually.
On the fly.
Yep. Or a restrictor or something.
Just cut a couple of cylinders out.
There we go. Only slightly. So we've given Paqueta 30 kgs. Yeah, no, this is the pro finals, Dylan. This is the best of the business going around here. Nah, this is definitely a support race.
I think some of the drivers in here are going to need a support group after this support race with some of the incidents.
Oh, without a doubt. We've got to try and somehow get Cruz to P1 here. As Hignett goes P1. That 30 kg will probably do absolutely nothing to that Nissan.
No, it'll just annoy her and she'll drive faster. You're like poking the bear.
Hignet's fastest lap is in danger, I would suggest.
Can I join in Cup Car next one? Next one is tomorrow night from 7:30 Australian Eastern Daylight Time. It'll be in GT4s, so no, you can't use the Cup Car, but you can use any GT4. And there's a Porsche in there, Cayman. So pick that bad boy.
Can everybody pick the Ginetta?
With the KTM, that's horrid.
Yeah. Or the Maserati, because there's no traction control, and it's one of the best handling cars in the game.
It is, I agree. Well, we'll take your kiss. Chat, who would you like to give some ballast to in this race?
I'm
Donate.
quite surprised that... Sorry.
You go.
No, I'm quite surprised that the writer didn't just drive past the Bentley down the straight there, because it's supposed to be rapid in a straight line. Ignat. Kira already has ballast, we can't add more unfortunately. Ignat's a fair shout, he's way too far ahead now.
Oh, became fast slap.
Fastest lap.
There you go.
She needs a restrictor as
Hold it.
well. Right? Raika, yes, they're open to pretty much everyone who's not competing in the finals on that day, essentially.
Give a drive through to everyone who is in front of the rider.
There you go, 4 and 8. Dignet's got 30. Any other donations for ballast? You pay, we'll play. I funded the first one. But yeah, come on, someone's got to chip in for Scott Blair to get a ballast. $10 will get him a drive-through.
How much does a stop go? 30?
Oh, $30.
Worth it.
Definitely worth it. Yeah, it will be. Same for tomorrow, GT4s. And next week the same, but we'll be doing it at Spa.
Dan Murphy delivering.
Let's go.
Done.
Yeah, how much is a stop go for Bakita and the Pro Finals? Is that possible?
Yes.
Poor Linton with 30 kilos. Nice.
Are you saying everybody's got their price, Mel, even if it is the finals?
Basically. Linton 30, that's... Oh, sorry, I only just noticed that. That is harsh. But... It's been put out there. Linton's in the pits. You want him to ballast? Done.
Got a question there, how much for the whole top 10? You get a buy 10, get one free?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Whole top 10. Surprise me. Buy 2, get 1 free.
Well, to be fair, 3 of them are already done, and we don't want to do the writer, so 30 is probably a fair price, I would say. Based on it's only 6.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, yeah, exactly. So if you do put money on cruise, you actually wasted your money because it's not happening. Oh, someone's off in the background. People aren't paying attention on the safety car.
That was Connor Weston having a bit of a tour of the grass.
He's still there. I don't know how far back he dropped. 17th.
Still time to get the win.
Just
Come
saw
on.
Scott
Any-
Blair was off too.
Oh, that's fine. All right, we resume this race for the last 4 minutes. If you want to see someone get a penalty, you just have to donate. $5 will get him 30 kg ballast. $10 for a drive-through. Someone just got a drive-through then. I'm not sure who it was. Car 22. Is that what I do? Clear 22? Yeah. Boom. If a driver is on a final on that circuit, they ought not to be able to participate in a sport race for a finals race on that same track. That's not fair.
Well, when they're driving a completely different car and it is, I don't know. I don't think that that's an issue. And
I would just want to know how come it's not fair. That's my only
Yeah.
question. Maybe
what are they going to gain? By
Oh,
doing
nice
20
Wow.
minutes sport
spin in
race.
the back there.
few
Yeah, it's
wheels and
just
stubby
a
holders. No worries, James.
bit of extra practice.
Yeah, but you can practice anywhere at any time.
Yeah,
so
that-
you're
that's
not
my
really,
point.
you're not really
It's
taking anything away. And
not
honestly,
an unfair advantage.
are you going to gain much from this, as in a practice sense? Like, it's a lot of people just throwing the cars around willy-nilly. Like, you bang for your buck, call it practice-wise, isn't really going to make much. I
And if you're
do.
doing well, the race director gives you a ballast. So it's,
Yeah, exactly. I'll ruin your race for you and your practice.
all the support Justin has received is not helping. I was really, based on all the comments you read about the ride, I was expecting it to if it's within a second of somebody down the straight, it would just end up 9 seconds ahead of them by the end of it. But not quite as impressive as I was led to believe.
Yeah, it's held its own. The safety cars may have helped, but we won't touch on that. And the only thing with it being unfair is if, for example, that they support races for people that aren't in the finals or in the sprint series, and the grid was full and they're taking spots, but the grids haven't been full. So if I was to rule out anyone that's competing, then it's going to be too small and it's a waste of time kind of streaming it. Because at the end of the day, it's just a bit of fun. And if you get to T-Bone Scott Blair, then why would you want to get involved? Who's left the server?
It's a native bonus.
Kita moves through to P1.
She is inevitable.
Far enough back.
Restrictor 32650. Does that work? There we go. Eat that. Eat that!
Meters on the final lap now. Give it all you can.
She is using many swear words at the moment, I would imagine.
20% restrictor, so she should struggle on the straights.
To be fair, it is the GTR, so it'll still be just as fast as the Bentley, most likely. Inside here.
Send it.
It's going to happen somewhere.
It looked like when they started getting towards the top end, it started to slow down a bit, so down this long back straight, it might have a bigger effect. God, the GTR was fast. I don't think you can add more than 30, can you? Oh, yeah.
No, it'll just say it.
It doesn't add it, okay.
Come on, Ignat, send it. Heck, this Ignat does have a ballast as well.
Sprint to the line.
Oh, what a finish.
It's finished already.
Nah, she got disqualified. Seymour, check your messages!
I have.
Oh, here we go. There's an amigo. How are you, sir?
Yeah, good. Just got back from work. Saw your message.
That's all right, mate. Well, that's going to hurt. Oh, that's a hurt. Yeah, you guys were a great combination last week, so why not
Thank you.
continue on?
I'll let you guys finish this one off.
Well, Bakita's going to message me. I just DQ'd her on the line. Well, she'll laugh, I reckon. Well, I hope so. Anyway, let's move over to this.
As they're starting their first hot laps, I think. Yeah.
All right, I'll leave you gentlemen to it. Thank you very much. Have another great call.
Yes, Malik.
Thanks, Malik.
Just well,
Evening, guys.
good evening,
Good
Simmons. How are we
evening.
doing?
Yeah, very good. Very good. Very excited. Round 2.
You've been working.
Always working. Never stops.
Gotta get that bread.
I don't
So
eat bread.
it's a freaking figure of speech, man. Gosh.
Also, who doesn't eat bread? What kind of thing was that to say?
What are
was
we?
the- Sorry, you go.
So, no, I was asking, what are we thinking for poll time here? Estimates, guesses.
What are the new poll times? What are the new qualifying times in this circuit? I've done a little bit, but
Well, it depends who you ask. If you ask Bakira, then it's still mid to high 32s.
of course it is. Looking at the
but-
hot lap server, you've got the top 15 are between 32.5 and 33.9. So do you think we're going to see a 33? Is probably the good first question to ask.
Yeah. look at 33s. Probably mid 33s, I would think.
Mid 33s? Alright, where are we at now? We've seen the first times coming through.
Might be, if I had to give a specific guess, let's say a 33, 6, 2, 4.
Do you want to go to that fourth? I was going to say, do you want to go to that fourth decimal place too?
And I will just round up to it.
No, it's going to be 34.000.
Oh. Okay.
Well, we're on 34.8, so that's your first lap, so that's your banker lap. Do we really think we can get nearly 9/10ths out of the second lap, out of the more tires?
Yeah.
I would say so.
It's taking 3 laps to get the tyres up to 10.
That's a good point. Alright, so you guys reckon we'll see the 33s?
Yep. I do.
33.5 says Dylan in chat. I think you're being a little optimistic. I think that's quite an optimistic number. Here we go. McKinnon 34.4. I think with the new changes, it's going to be hard to get into the 33s. I mean,
It's not as easy as it was. Definitely.
You've got
We got a
Yuri
34
Valahi on 33.8 in hot lap server at the moment. Right?
Yeah, but the Porsche is pretty awful around here, to be fair, I would say.
Okay, alright, I hear you. I'll save myself the suspense and we'll see what happens on the screen. So 34.2, Convoy. Alright, here's the next question. If somebody's going to hit the 33s, who's going to do it first?
He's my shout for the win and for pole, so I have to continue on that streak and say he's the one who will be able to do it.
Excellent.
I was a bit disappointed to see Braden Ross in the Discord during the week suggesting that he wouldn't be up to pointy yet today. And with the Bentley, I thought that he had a pretty good shot at it on his strong form at Alton Park.
I mean, I've done a fair few laps in the old Bentley in the last week or so, and it's still strong around here. It's just a lot more difficult to get that ultimate pace out of it. Before, the Bentley was just on rails around here, but now it takes quite a bit more work to actually generate a proper lap out of it. So
Thank God.
Yeah, personally, with my admitted lack of driving skill, I had to bump up the TC and cut some camber off to keep the damn thing on the straight and narrow. That with the changes from the Misano 8-hour that we did.
yeah, we tried our Mazzano setup from last season and just deleted them about 2 minutes later because it was pretty much pointless.
I'm on board with this is a new valid lap, but he's got some pace in it. Ross up nearly 5/10 coming through the final corner. He's going to hold it. He's going to lose it on the final corner. That is really disappointing. He's going to get one more shot. He's going to cross the line with just enough time. But that is devastating when you're up that much and you so lose in the final corner, especially when you're down in P17, and that's going to make a big difference.
Say thank you to Hamster there for the donation. Fun support race was interesting. Shame the safety car stopped me from getting record for DTs in 20 minutes. Apologies for ruining your DT party. As we see, Makina's going 34 flat, so I think I may have been a bit optimistic in terms of the race, but still a very good one.
I misjudged the duration of the quality actually. I thought we had another 10 minutes or so to go.
Then you've definitely misjudged the duration.
Because it's only 8 minutes.
Bambo's coming around with 6/10 up. That's going to put him up quite a bit. Is that going to get into the top 10? It's going to get close.
Should be.
And
there you go.
there we are. That's very close. Alright, let's see who else we got. Clark, 4/10 up, 4.5 up. Coming through this third last turn right now. And he's up. So he's 1.5 off pole time. So this will get him into the top 10 for sure if he can hold it through the final turn, get a good run. He holds it, he's gaining 6.5 tenths across the line. He comes into P7. Nice work. And Ross.
Suggesting that you check your microphone sound. Sounds alright to me, but suggesting that it might be not
Backwards?
so good on the stream.
Is she
how is
implying
that-
that you're talking out of your ass, or that just that you're...
That's right. How's that, Philippa?
That's actually a lot clearer.
That's a lot
Actually,
clearer.
It is
Yes.
clearer.
Philippa is
So-
the official mic checker.
Much to the dismay of a certain Mr. McNulty, it is not raining. But I don't think we were really expecting a lot of moisture here. It's not a track where it often rains. But it is nice to see that I got one call right so far, that McInnes got pole at least, so we're off to a good start there.
Absolutely did. I think I got pretty close. My prediction of a 34.000 was not correct,
Yep.
but it's not far off.
Pretty close. I mean,
0.017 or something. That's can't get a lot closer.
yeah, you can't get much closer than that now.
Hell of a lot better than my prediction. Well, can't win them all, I guess.
Unless you're in the Bentley
Hey,
in the
hey.
final series.
Hey, we still have Spa to contend with, and no, just no.
How's the Bentley at Spa?
I don't know if the Bentley probably can be good at Spa. JP at Spa is fucking awful. So,
Excellent.
and JP in the Bentley at Spa is even worse. So no, I can't get that bloody track under control. So I'm not looking forward to that. Don't focus on it. It's so ugly. It is good to see Bendy. No, I apologize for saying not to focus on it. Yeah, he missed last week, so good to see him back this week. How is the Audi around here, Samwise? Is it manageable?
It's all right. The Audi's not feeling great after the update, but it could just be the driver. So we'll have to see. I probably haven't done quite as much work as I'd like for this round, but that's okay. It's not about me tonight. It's about the Pro-Am, and we are now away on the formation lap. So I'd like to say to everybody who's tuning in, welcome to Octane Online Racing Pro-Am Finals Round 2 at Mazzano. We had an absolutely fantastic race last week at Alton Park. That was such a thriller. Watching the ride in the last laps, having the top 3 drivers all within 1 second and battling it out was such a great race to see. I really hope we get to see some great racing at Mazzano like we did then. And with me in the comments box, Glenn and JP. This is going to be exciting.
I am excited. I'm looking forward to this for sure.
So P1, starting P1, McInnes. Alongside him is going to be Comboy. Second row, Fowler and Pignata. And then McConnell and Sciliano. So a couple of different names to those we saw right up the front last week. It's nice to see that that's being shaken up a little bit.
So looking at the top 5, does it imply that the MR cars are maybe a little bit more competitive than they were last week? Although quite a few of those names were up there last week as well, but I mean, 4 McLarens in the top 5 says quite a bit.
The fact that they were up there last week, I think, shows just how good those drivers are. McLaren at Alton Park is not the combination you want to have, to be honest. But there's definitely some surprising names further down the field. Braden Ross down in P19. That's a bit of a surprise. He was, correct me if I'm wrong, but our winner last week. So he's currently leading the Pro-Am finals, and he's starting this race from P19. And he's in the Bentley, which is definitely no slouch around here, so it'll be very interesting to see how he goes, pulling his way through the field.
One silver lining is we have a super sprint race, and there will be a reverse grid, so that should open things up, and Samwise lead us through the start?
Absolutely. Heading up towards the line, so that's McInnes on the right in the white, McLaren, Convoy on the left. We see him come to the line, it's going to be green light any second now, they're away. Good start from McInnes, he's going to lead the pack into turn 1 very cleanly, but it looks like we've got somebody challenging for the P2 position. That looks like it's going to be Fowler trying to make a move on Convoy around the outside. If he held it, which he didn't, he could have gotten it here. Everything looks clean a little bit further back too. You've got Thistlewaite, who's just made his way up to P6. And this is a bit of a dangerous zone to be going. You've got a couple of Hondas battling just back through the field. Looks like they've gotten through nice and clean. You've got one McLaren off into the grass. I'm not sure which one that is. A Lamborghini.
Look like Fowler.
That's really sad for Fowler. Lamborghini having a little trundle off track. You want to be careful there. Those little bumps can really throw you up in the air. Oh, and we've got another spin from another McLaren, unfortunately, having a little tag. And that is a Honda being thrown off, and we've got a little bit of chaos. Safety car's been deployed. It was calm but wild all at the same time.
It wasn't a particularly big accident, but I think it happened in the type of spot that leads to a big accident, and that's just what we saw there.
Yeah, it was very much a ricochet effect, just ping-ponging off each other a little bit, and nobody really sure what's going on, so...
So I think the big winner through this was Thistlewaite there, because he started in P6 and he's running P3 now. So he'll be very happy with that start.
I'm sure we'll see soon what's happened to our McLaren spinners. So Fowler has dropped back to P14. He was challenging for P2, you remember, right at the start. Or did he start in P2?
No, he started P3.
I started P3 and he was challenging Convoy for it. So we'll see now what happened to him. So he's got a Lamborghini on the outside. Got the inside line. You've got a McLaren diving up the inside. Almost tags him, does not.
Does tag him here.
Oh, it does tag him, unfortunately. That's...
And then McConnell, who tagged Fowler there, gets tagged in the very next corner in a very similar fashion as well. So, a bit of bad luck there for both of those McLarens.
Very good run for Thistlethwaite, who finished in... Did Thistlethwaite finish top 3? Oh, this our other little incident at the end of the first straight.
It's just Liano just missed his braking here, it seems.
Oh, there's a Honda who just tags the
McLaren on the inside there.
And everybody else is just passengers from there. That Honda and was trying to regain control of the car. So we've got the Honda dive, tags the back of the McLaren, he goes spinning. He's going to now tag get in the way at least of the cars. Who tags the Honda, who tags the McLaren again, and let's see it for a third time.
And the dominoes just keep falling.
Yeah, everybody. And there's going to be a lot of damage there. And there's a sideways Bentley, it looks like, is it? Over on the right, that yellow.
Maybe Ross, actually. That looks like his livery.
Yellow Bentley?
Yep, yellow and black Bentley.
Ross, who potentially could have capitalized from P19 at the start, is actually in P20, unfortunately.
And McConnell's dropped right down from around P5, P6 down to P22.
You've got Sanderson in the pits in the Honda, so he's going to be wanting to get out and get going. We'll see whether the safety car's coming in this lap. It looks like they might be.
First up, yes.
Yeah, so...
Sandeezy is out of the pit, so he'll be happy to not get stuck in this.
He would have definitely been happy with an extra lap of safety car, so that's an unfortunate result for him. He's going to be racing by himself for a little while, I suspect. And they're off. McInnes has led them away. He's got the jump on Convoy. And looks like Thistlewaite stayed very close to Convoy. He's going to challenge for P2 now. He's done a great job. He started back, what was that, P6, P7?
Yep, 6, I think.
So he's really capitalized on those accidents and fortunately doesn't seem to have been a part of it all. So that is a legitimate position he's in. Pignata's always fast as well. And I believe that was their battle at Ilton Park as well, was Pignata and Thistlethwaite, if I remember correctly.
Yep, that sounds about right, yeah.
I know there were two major battles, and I can't quite remember exactly.
There was a disconnect for Pignata.
There was.
In the end.
Well, I'm sure he's happy to be racing in the top spots now.
Top 3 was McInnes and Ross and Van Vliet, if I'm not mistaken.
So McInnes in P1, was it was Ross in P1 and then McInnes and
Ross
then
in P1 and then
McInnes and then
McInnes
Ben
and Van
Vliet. That's right.
McInnes and Van Vliet had the ding-dong battle in the pit stops there.
Of course, and I remember we had Pignard, Thistlethwaite, and there was one more who was in that little battle behind them. So
I want to say Meddings or Fowler. I feel like
it wasn't Meddings. It may have been Fowler. You know what? We'll we'll find the results from last week. If I could find them online, I would be telling you right now. We'll get Malik to send us through the official results, wherever they may be.
But speaking of racing today, McInnes seems fairly comfortable up the front, while Thistlethwaite is taking a good close look at the back of that McLaren, hoping to maybe find a way through before Thistlethwaite, or before McInnes clear off completely at the front there.
Still saying within a second of McInnes, Convoy is. So it's definitely not over yet. It's not. It's definitely not pulling away like he might have hoped he would be. So we'll see how this goes after a few laps. We'll have had a chance to space out a bit, and we'll see where our battle packs lie from there.
So Mitchell running the highest running AM at the moment, but it seems as though he lost out a little bit to McLaws through the restart maybe, and there's a little bit of a gap, and that's about the biggest gap going through the field at the moment.
Have a look how close. This is the way it is here. He took a very different line into at the start of the straight, so he was much faster down that straight than Convoy was. So he was definitely looking at a move there. Saw him go really deep into that turn before the straight. Just lost a bit of time as the McLaren goes wide. That might have been a track limit, so you want to be careful there. It is not difficult to get track limits here, and fortunately it's only a half-hour race, but you've still got to be very careful.
Well, if I watched the rookies race last night and the amount of drive-throughs that were handed out in a 45-minute race, I think there was a total of 8 drive-throughs throughout the race.
I don't think there was barely a team who didn't get a drive-through in the Mazzano 8-hour, 9-hour, whichever one we did a little while ago.
Yeah, that's true.
But everyone was being fairly conservative there on full tanks of fuel, so this is an all-out brawl for half an hour. So what a close pack. Bender is going to take a look, so he's right on the back of Neighbour. He's for sure going to have a little bit of a dive here. No, you know what? I was wrong. For sure was not for sure enough. They both pulled it up really nicely. That was a really nice line from Bender through there. He's going to take another look, trying to make Neighbour squirm a little bit. He tugs it really tight. Some really nice lines from there. A little fraction of oversteer there, which just slowed up the exit for Bender, who's now in the slipstream of the Ferrari. Won't get quite close enough for a move down here, but this looks like it might be a little battle to watch. Atanyaki not far behind. He definitely wants Bender and Neighbour to have a bit of a closer battle so we can capitalize. I mean, it's a huge train of cars when we're talking about. It's not a 3-way battle. This is a 7-way battle at the moment.
Thistlethwaite there with the fastest lap as well. Pretty impressive race pace at the moment, but it's looking at this back, it's such a difficult track to actually get a proper overtake done unless somebody makes there's a lot of spots where very small mistake can cost you, but it's not an easy track just for heavy braking zones and easy overtakes. So you need to really work at setting them up over quite a few turns. So these guys will be working hard to get through this little pack here.
Braden Ross having a little bit of a struggle back in P19. As you said, it's a reverse grid, so if he wants to get some good points, he would do well to get himself closer to that P12 position, which is currently McLaws. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if we're on the same model as always, then P12 will be P1 for the start of the next race.
I think Mala can just confirm, but if I recall last season's final, it was the top 10 in finals, not the top 12, but I speak out of it from there.
We'll ask for a confirmation from the top dog in chat. Are we a top 10 or a top 12 reverse grid? Season 7 finals will be top 12 like the regular season. There we go. So same rules as always apply. Top 12 will be reverse grid, 13 and down. Presumably in that case we'll have their own qualifying for the second race.
Yeah, so that'll just wait with a bit of a Tokyo Drifto. It'll help Ross if he can maybe put in a better performance in the second qualifying to start a bit higher up and potentially have a better second race to mitigate some of the points he'll be losing to McInnes in this first race.
Now, Thistlethwaite is in P2. We did not see the change of hands. Thistlethwaite's got Convoy and is now chasing down McInnes. So that was a change for P2 that we did not get to lay eyes on. Maybe we'll get a replay of that sometime later on. At the moment, we've got a good battle here. Siciliano chasing down Meddings in the McLaren. And what pace? I mean, Thistlethwaite with the fastest lap at the moment. That was a 34.4.
Yeah, that's a bloody fast lap. I mean, it's not a lot of fuel.
He must have done the same thing where he's gone very deep into the turn before the straight, got a great exit. That Mercedes steaming down the straight, and he's just completely steamrolled that McLaren. He's going to take it on the inside, pull it up tight. McLaren tries to go around the outside, but that's never going to work, unfortunately. So he's really intelligently pulled that up at the back end of the straight, kept it tight on the apex, and he's driven away in P2. And it is fantastic overtake. That was real class from those guys.
Very well done by Convoy there as well to stick it around the outside and not run wide there. I don't think I've ever managed that while trying to defend, so it's not an easy feat to really manage.
Yeah, you really want to get the run out of that turn before the long straight, or the person in front of you has got to really balls it up to be able to get a move like that done.
Couldn't agree more. When you see the different lines that people are taking into that corner, if you can make them defend into that corner leading onto the straight and throw yourself a little bit wider, get a good exit while they're getting their shallow exit, that appears to be what Thistlethwaite has done to Convoy, but that's the way to do it. There's so many different lines you can take to really capitalize and do the opposite of what the guy in front of you is doing.
It was one of my favorite parts of the Mazzano 8 hours was just seeing on our own car how different all three of us do. Quite a few lines, but especially this corner here, with it being so, it's quite wide, and there's, as you said, there's 3 or 4 equally fast lines. They're just faster in certain areas, and all three of us took them completely different all the time. It was quite funny to see, actually.
It's very good as a strategy thing for battles. This is really close between... No, and that is a sideways. Is he going to hold it? No, he spins, snaps back the other way. That is Siciliano, unfortunately, in the sand. He's going to get it going again. Those tires aren't going to be loving it, but hopefully he can get back on sooner rather than later. And he's done very good on doing a safe re-entry, so take notes, everybody. That is how you wait and re-enter at a safe time. He could very well have just powered it straight onto the track there, and he didn't.
Right, and Ross with a very good overtake into the hairpin there on Ataniake. And Charles Clark and Wood going side by side through the last corner, which is quite a tricky feat to accomplish.
Now we're watching Clark in the battle of a pack. The back of a pack.
Say you need good cooperation to get through that corner too wide.
Yeah, definitely a two-man operation for sure.
It's the replay. We're looking at McClaws, currently in P12. See what happens here. It looks like he's under attack from Fowler behind. Fowler, we know, is one of the fastest on track at the moment. Unfortunately, he slams it into a wall. That is an extremely disappointing eventuality for somebody who's running in P12, effective P1 for the next race.
It was quite a weird little incident there, as we see Clark get the inside run there. Wood just missed his braking ever so slightly, allowing Clark to gap on the inside. But yeah, going back to that McLaws incident, that was a very... The car just looked like it said, no, I will not be gripping at this stage, so let's go visit the wall.
Unfortunately, it's possibly an attempt to maintain speed and continue powering up out of the corner, unfortunately. And we're going to see this Siciliano incident again. We want to see a sideways Mercedes, because here it is, completely sideways. Unfortunately, can't pull it back up. Gets himself into the sand, and he's now back down in 21st position. So he'll get an opportunity to re-qualify for the next race, but unfortunately, that's not going to do good for him.
Just a touch
like
of
he
the
just
brake
had
at the wrong point.
Yeah, exactly. I think he just had maybe a little bit more speed than he anticipated in the slipstream, and tried to rub some of it off, and unfortunately did it in an inopportune moment.
Unfortunately, yeah, if you go hard on the brakes as he appears to have done as the wheel's turning, it's almost an inevitability at that when you've got a track that's cambered so slightly like that and at that speed. So that's really unfortunate to see, because he was running really strong. Now that looks like, is that a completed overtake? Yes, it is.
Back to the field.
Braden Ross into 16th. We have been following him, and he's right on the back of Neighbour, who our Dave McNulty Bender did manage to get past. Again, is an overtake we didn't quite get to see, but they were having a little battle earlier, and Bender in P14 at the moment, one of our 4 AM drivers.
Point out, as Paul Cranich pointed out in chat, currently Mitchell sitting in 12th. So we do have an AM driver on provisional pole for the reverse grid race.
Let's see if he can hold it. He's got a little bit of a gap back to Bandai, so one to watch. Ben McConnell coming back from 23rd and 10 seconds back. That is... So we're on board with McConnell at the moment. So he was back in 23rd in last position, and 10 seconds back. He's caught up to the pack, and he's now chasing down. Oh, a bit of oversteer.
I wonder if he'll be looking at a penalty for his part in the first lap incident there.
We haven't seen any penalties roll out, so yet. So yeah, that could absolutely be the case. He has a bit of a dive into turn 1. He pulls it up. That could have been really dangerous if he overshot that. He could have been right in the side of that Honda. So he's done well to pull that up, especially because it looked like he was a little squirrely coming into the braking zone. But he really wants that position, and he wants it now. So he's going to have to be careful. If he's potentially looking, if there's a potential penalty, or if there's not a potential penalty, he's going to want to avoid another one or a first one, either way. He had a good. In fact, I believe it was McConnell up high in the runnings for the last race, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he was.
Yep.
I think he might be the one that we forgot from the Pignata and Thistlethwaite battle.
Yeah, the battle for B4, yeah.
Yep, that one. Yep. So he had a great race last time out. As it looks like. Is that Dave Neighbour?
Yep. Wondering if him and Ross maybe had a bit of a how's your father.
We'll have a look at that soon, see what happened to Dave Neighbour. But for now, McConnell's still chasing down Clark, doing everything he can to try and get around. Oh, Clark goes a little bit wide. It's a bit of a moment. It might be a dive up the inside. He does not. He holds it tight. I want to make sure you get through this cleanly and intelligently, as that was a very strange moment.
That curb there is the tram lining effect there is much more pronounced than it was before. So it is quite possible that it just pulls you off track if you take a bit too much of it.
So we've got David Neighbour here. This is Braden Ross behind. Looks like a bit of a dive from Ross. Unfortunately, tags him on the back. Neighbour around. The stewards are going to take a look at that. And
just a little boop on the snoot.
There's a drive-through for Braden Ross. Whether that's for this incident or if that's a track limit related.
I'm going to hazard a guess and say that's track limit related.
If that's
very quick.
If that's true, track limit penalties converted.
Okay with one as well.
Yeah, looks like it. So Thistlethwaite currently 1.6 seconds behind McInnes. There's 10 minutes left to go. He's made his way back.
Yep, so track limits confirmed by race control there.
Last week I called out George Fowler for making such a great comeback after being off early at Alton Park. Today he's had that spin and he got touched up very early, and he's walked back from about P15 up to P8 in this race. So he's becoming the master of the comebacks.
The comeback kid is on his way again.
Van Vliet is doing a great job chasing down Zach James. So we might even see a little bit of a dive. And Zach James gone a little bit deep, and that might be an opportunity for the Porsche to just make his life uncomfortable through this turn and get a good run onto the straight. Which he does do, and the Porsche has got a good run. And there's no defense from Zach James, and it looks like the Porsche may not be able to pull off a dive here. But he is very close, and I don't think this battle is going away anytime soon.
I think Zach James is comfortable in the knowledge that a Porsche does not have the top end speed of a Honda. So he's even with the tow there, he's not under too much red going over there.
It's a fair point, but in the tow, it looks like the Porsche is holding its own down the straights. You know, this is quite close. Bit of rubber banding effect going on. There.
Pulls away by 10 meters. Yeah.
Like instantly. Oh no! And that's unfortunately Van Vliet around. He is pulling it back up. He may only drop a couple of positions, but that is the second car we've seen go sideways into the kinks at the back end of the straight today. He's back on in P6. Is that corrected position? It won't be. He'll be behind the Lamborghini, but he might be in P7.
Yeah, I think it seems as though he lost only one position there. Philippa pointing out that I haven't driven the Honda on EU track. She is absolutely correct. I do not drive that car. So, but it is. I can't imagine that it's slower than a Porsche in a straight line based on what I've seen.
It looks like McInnes has pulled out a little bit further to Thistlethwaite. And as we get in from race control, there it is. Braden Ross, car 47, 15-second penalty for causing a collision on lap 11. That will be the collision between himself and David Neighbour. So a little consolation for Neighbour, who's now back in 18th. And that's
the penalty as well. Seems like 15 seconds. Before that lap 1 incident on Fowler.
So Bender currently in P12, but only 0.8 of a second behind that is Bender, who is currently not far off, and we have a 15-second penalty up in P5, so, and it looks like that may stretch all the way back to P12. How's your maths, boys?
Not that great.
2 + 2 is 4 big man. Yeah, and the only thing that might affect that is the gap to Van Dyke is pretty big, so I think Zach James might actually be lucky here and end up on reverse grid pole if he has a bit of luck.
It's 14.5 seconds at the moment. Actually, 14.9 seconds at the moment back to Dave McNulty in P13 from Zach James in P15. So that is shockingly close.
Did you do that in your head, Samwise?
No, I've got a little, I can type into Google a little calculation. Just, typed in the splits between the cars, between P6 and P13. Thank you very much.
When you say Google, do you mean a calculator? Or?
No, well, I just use Google as the calculator.
Okay.
It's fine. But if you are on pitbull.live, which I am not, but I'm about to be, it will actually tell you those gaps as well. So I'll be able to follow that a little bit more closely, and I'll keep you guys updated.
I can imagine YouTube chat will go mental if we see Van Dyke on reverse grid pole.
Ben Dyke or Dave McNulty would be huge for reverse grid pole.
Paul Greenwich says Bender only got us set up for the race about 5 minutes beforehand, so he's well prepared for the day.
Excellent.
Practiced a lot.
So I'm wondering if something happened to Pignata at some stage? Because he's dropped about 9 seconds behind Convoy. Oh no, sorry, 1 second. I completely misread that. Never mind me. I'll just be here saying stupid shit.
Alright, it looks like...
Ooh.
Very, very close. Racing. Alright, it looks like Bender isn't quite close enough to Zach James, who's pulling away constantly. So he's already pulled away another nearly 3 seconds in the last 2 laps. So
Official weight.
drive-through, that's a big deal. That is a big change. Now, are these drive-throughs being converted to 15 seconds?
Nope.
No, that's not the case. They are legitimate.
Only in Spa.
Okay. Now, so drive-through penalty. That is a big change up, and that is really disappointing for Ferox there in P2 because he had a good run last week, and he's currently sitting in second place, and he's going to drop a long way back. That might just put Bender on reverse grid pole, which is very exciting, if I'm honest.
Yeah, fantastic. And just to shout out this man again, I mean, he's been on an absolute tear through the field. Currently sitting P14, soon to be P13 on track. Obviously, there is still the penalty to contend with, but based on track position, he's had an absolute belter of a race so far.
Looks like Bender knew what he was fighting against. Somebody who's got himself 15-second penalty already, so he didn't fight that one hard, which was probably the smart move. You don't want to be getting into any dangerous positions when you're potentially sitting on a first-place spot for the next race. And that is just extremely disappointing for Thistlethwaite, who has done an excellent job to come from P6 or 7 to up to second place. So yeah.
So he's not gonna, unfortunately he got it a little bit too early, so he can't wait it out and serve the penalty post-race, but is with a longer pit lane and the longer pit lane loss, is it still a 30-second penalty if you don't serve it, or do they adjust for that?
Well, it wouldn't be beneficial here if it's 30 seconds, but I believe it might. No, it's usually more. It's more. It's not equivalent. It's definitely more than a drive-through's worth. So it'll never be better for you to wait.
First track apparently, according to race control there.
And that's only if you don't serve it. So he would have had a minimum amount of laps before he had to serve it. Yeah. So only if you were within range to get to the end of the race before serving. But I don't think there's any scenario where that's going to be more beneficial for him. And unfortunately, he's probably going to peel off into the pits now, I expect. Which he hasn't done, so he's stretching it as far as he can.
Which is fair enough when you have the race pace on track. You want to make use of it as long as possible, I suppose.
So we should be on the penultimate lap now, and Pignata is currently sitting in P5. He is only half a second behind Zach James, and they are fighting for podium position in this race. Actually, Zach James has got a 15-second penalty, so I take all that back. He's already in a podium position in what would be corrected positions after penalties have all been served. Oh, side by side goes, is that Meddings and Taylor? I think it is. So we've got Meddings up the inside. Taylor takes a very wide line. Meddings has cleared him, but looks like Taylor's going to get a bit of a rear view vision mirror full. Oh, Cameron Mitchell? I don't know what I'm saying.
You're out working or drinking?
It's not even Cameron, it's Charlie Mitchell. I did that last week too. I'm just gonna stop talking. You guys take it.
Just say just sort of wait.
Just say
time to pass.
Cameron Thistlethwaite.
Okay, show off.
You know what? I was impressed with myself there too. And there he is.
I mean, you just made up for everything that you just said wrong before that.
And he is into the pits, and there he goes. Let's see how far back he falls there. Fortunately, it's not too long. The pit lane here, I think it might cost him. Well, fortunately, it cuts
it feels forever.
True. It does cut a bit of the track, so you don't lose as much time as you're spending in the pits.
Dave Neighbor also copping a drive-through penalty for track limits. Being a teammate of Neighbor, I have not seen him practice much this week, so I'm not sure how many laps he's actually pulled around here. So not too surprising to see that. White should be coming out of the pits. There he goes.
There he is. So we'll find out soon once the timing board updates. See where he is. Currently says
Like
P8.
Yeah, that's the gap. The little battle with Middings and Mitchell Taylor there. Yeah.
In P10. So I mean, he really just wanted to be in a higher position for the next race, didn't he?
What's the pro gamer strat there, really?
I mean, right now you've got. Oh, well, he actually didn't fall back behind P12, so this actually does not put Bender on for the top position, unfortunately. Bender will have to legitimately get that position. He's 0.5 a second behind, and he's only got a fraction of a lap to go.
As we see Thomas McInnes here across the line, he has been absolutely faultless this race. Just dominated from the start and looked comfortable the whole race, and to be fair, so did Convoy. Convoy never really looked particularly challenged.
Is everybody slowing down so that they can get P12?
No, that was we were on board with P3,
yeah.
who let Zach James past, even though Zach James has a 15-second penalty before crossing the line. I think, if I'm not crazy, that's what we were just on board with. So that was very interesting. But we've got McInnes in P1. What an excellent drive from the McLaren driver there. That was an absolutely dominant drive. Even though we had Thistlethwaite, who set the fastest lap and clearly had very strong pace, he was clearly more consistent, maintained that gap, and came home to a clean P1 position. The remainder positions are TBC on what all of them are, but we definitely know that Convoy and Pignata are the other two on the podium. Where everyone else falls, we're going to have to wait and see, because we have penalties all the way down the field. And Thistlethwaite also has a 10-second penalty for causing a collision as well, so that may be the result. And it is Dave McNulty, P12. Is the final position for the race. Thistlethwaite ends up in P16, so he's going to have to qualify to get himself back up towards that P13 position, which is his best possible starting position for the next race. Neighbor finishing in 10th. Oh, no,
that's where
hang
he's
on, that was, oh, that's where he's I was thinking, hang on, that doesn't seem right. Charlie Mitchell in P1.
Did he fly through the pits? Or?
Yeah, that's right.
So for those who are not quite aware, as we've mentioned, it's a super sprint race, meaning it's two 30-minute races. And the second race will have a top 12 reverse grid, and P13 and down from the first race get another chance to do a super quali and potentially start in 13th. If you had a bad first race, it gives you a chance at redemption to start close to race one's winner.
Got to say, the Pro-Ams are all class at the moment. I'm sure there are some incidents, but not that many. And to be honest, a lot less than the Pro drivers after them last week. They had such a clean run at Alton Park, of all places. It was such a pleasure to watch. They're doing such a good job staying clean, racing well. Nobody's being fools. The incidents that happen are unfortunate incidents, but nobody's being particularly silly on track. It's such a pleasure to watch a split full of really clean, good drivers.
I'd say most of the incidents that we saw in that race is pretty much just down to the track. You know, there's quite a few corners here where alternate lines work, and that sometimes means that the car ahead is carrying less speed than you might be carrying, and it's so easy to just get those tiny little taps. And as we know in ACC, it's easy to send a car around doing that. So I think Alton Park, you know, there's not many ways to skin a cat there, whereas here there's many ways to do it. So I think that's partly the track playing a role in the little incidents that we've seen today.
For sure. Fortunately, it looks like the physics model's been adapted a bit so that we haven't seen cars ping-ponging quite as much as they have in the past. You know, a little tap just sees them flying into a spin or off track or whatever it might be. You know, the spins and the taps we've seen in this race look to be all fairly realistic.
Yeah, no, they weren't any like wonky physics going on. It was just tiny little taps that sends the rear end around because it's not loaded, so makes sense.
AMs don't have their own finals, Virtus, thanks for asking. Now, the AM drivers that we have in this race are wild cards from their respective splits. So if you've raced well and done well and you're an AM driver in the splits, it is possible to receive a wild card invitation to the Pro-Am finals. But that is why you can see the red drivers on the screen. So far they've been racing really well. In fact, we have an AM driver starting P1 the next race. And P3, I think. Charlie Mitchell?
Yep, I think so.
Something like that?
Somewhere around there.
I think it was P10, if I'm not mistaken, which I probably am. Whoa!
I don't know if you know how they live in Tokyo. Braden Ross with a very classy drift there.
Excellent work. So that's going to be an invalid lap. So he's gonna get another couple. Hope those tires are all right, man.
It's just warming up the tires. That's how you do it with the new physics model. You know, you just take your drift around at a couple of corners and you're nice and warm.
Is that the experience you're having in the Bentley? That you're finding a lot of sideways action?
It feels a bit more slidey than before, that's for sure. But it's still it's easier to catch the slides than it was, to be honest. So it's good fun to drive now.
Something tells me that we can guess who some of the top runners are going to be in this quali. So we're expecting Thistlethwaite to be right up there. McConnell, of course. I'm also expecting to see some good stuff from Braden Ross if he stops, if he keeps it straight, not sideways. And so we've got some of the quicker guys who had an unfortunate first race. Hopefully we see them pick themselves back up and claw back a few positions in the next one.
Yeah, it has seemed like Braden is just lacking a little bit of pace today compared to especially Ulton. Where he looked mighty, he's just doesn't seem to have quite as good a handle on the car around Mazzano as he did last week. But hopefully he can pull something out of the bag in this qualifying and prove me wrong in the second race.
And this is a driver to look out for. Thistlethwaite comes across the line. There he goes, P1 in the qualifying. Remember, this is only qualifying for those who finished position 13 and lower for the race. He was running in P2, got himself a drive-through penalty, and unfortunately a 10-second penalty for another incident as well. So he's had some hard luck, but he has been at the top of the field for both of the rounds so far. So we can expect that he'll be clawing back a few positions too. Charles Clark, don't know if he's up on his lap, but it's looking strong and he's coming through the final corner now. We'll see where he places himself. This will be his first time on the board, and he'll get 2 more laps after this as well. Comes across the line. He finds himself in P3, which is effectively P15 for the start of the next race.
Yeah, T-Mac, the Bentley is it's not as strong as it was pre-patch, but it's still very strong here. It just takes a little bit more work on the setup to get it to those swings it does.
Vampire puts in a great lap, finds himself in provisional P6. Still got another couple of laps to go, so we've still got another no more drivers to cross the line so this next lap for everyone, including car 23, which is Vanbar, he'll be the last one to finish his qualifying. So he's got this lap and the next one. As Thistlethwaite goes fastest again with a 34.2. We know he's potentially got more in that. He said 34.4 in the race on full fuel, so he might even be able to set a better time again.
Yeah, Philippa, but that's Andy. I mean, honestly, you can give him a wheelbarrow with 40 liters of fuel and do some of that. I'm not Don't concern myself with the work of aliens.
No, you don't do so bad yourself. JP, you've been running in the top times for both the last rounds for pro drivers, so I don't think you should be complaining. You know, you do alright.
Complaining, but it's after we drove Spain and Andy's fastest lap in the race was 7/10 quicker than my PB in quali. I realized how big the gap actually is. There's fast and then there's fast. And yeah, it's fun racing with the guys because it shows you what's actually possible. And it's good fun to see what the guys have had for the guys in groups.
Remember,
I was going to say 40 litres in the back of the Bentley just settles the rear a bit, doesn't it, JP?
Yeah, it doesn't affect it too much, to be honest.
Yeah.
you saw Vanbar up a 10th on his lap. Didn't get him any extra positions though, but he does get another lap. So this will be the final lap for these contenders here. So McConnell is currently 2.5 tenths up. He does have a car in front of him who peels off and doesn't distract him. He keeps within track limits. 3.5 tenths up coming through third last corner. 4.5 tenths up. Can he hold it? Drops back a little bit, so it is still 3.5 tenths. Second last corner. 3 tenths, he's holding it. If he can get it turned across, get it turned in early. Oh, he's done it well. He's pulled it up, 3.5 tenths up. He's going to cross the line, and that is for P1, which is effectively P13 for the race. But he has done, that is an amazing lap. 34.1 is only 0.15 slower than the top time in qualifying for the actual race. So
I'd say that was very nice from Braden Ross there to give him a tow all the way down the straight and then just bow out.
Right, yeah.
looked like a bit of
Very-
strategy.
Yeah.
To see Braden Ross back in P10, so he's struggling at the moment. So he's in the Bentley at Mazzano, previously known to be the top car. I don't know for sure whether it still is, but I'm surprised to see him back there considering his form last week.
Okay.
Yeah, I might just be struggling to dial in the setup or still getting used to the physics as it goes around here. I don't know. There's many possible reasons. Maybe it's just one of those tracks where he's not comfortable. I think we all have those. Spa definitely my bogey track. So yeah, just one of those weeks.
It's going to be very interesting to see where the standings lie after this, because this reverse grid as well is going to shake things up quite a lot. Now, remember, the positions you're seeing here are not the correct positions. Only the positions down to Wood are, well, they're correct as if you count them from P13 down. So P13 will be McConnell, P14 Thistlethwaite, and so forth. And then the remainder are going to be shuffled around. So we've got a little bit of time. Once the timer ticks down, they will have to line up just after turn 1, presumably. So we'll just have to wait to see what happens there.
Should see some slightly faster race pace as well, with it being an optimum track and nice cool air and track conditions. No wind really to speak of, 1 kilometer an hour. So yeah, I think we should see a speedy old race.
Anyone who raced the 8 hour are going to be familiar with the nighttime race here at Mazzano.
This race control gives us a Bender fact because Bender is busy, in fact, on pole. So the first person to be convicted of speeding was doing 8 miles an hour.
Spectacular. Now that's the kind of benefact we want to hear.
14-degree temperatures, and how many of the guys do you reckon have done some nighttime practice and got their tyre temps or tyre pressures right?
I was going to say you could use the tyre pressures from the 8 hour, but no, you can't because the new patch is throwing all that out the window. So pretty sure I've got, temperatures for, 14 degree, 15 degree things all preset, but yeah, I doubt any of that's worth a damn these days.
Yeah, I'll wing it. Just wing it. It's only finals. What's the worst that could happen?
I mean, let's not answer that. Let's not jinx anything just yet. So now we are in for a reverse grid, so we've been bragging about how clean they've been, but if you want carnage in a race, then you should do a reverse grid race. And so this is, you know, when you've got the faster drivers behind the slower drivers, that's when you can see some really good racing, but it can be really dangerous. So faster drivers going to have to be very, very aware of themselves and aware of the speed of the cars ahead. The race control, Benderfact, McNulty, and Bendai have never been on the front row of a race before, so this is an excellent start to the second and final race of round 2 of the Pro-Am finals. I'm very excited to see how this all goes down.
I'm sure Bender's like a Ricky Bobby at the moment. I don't know what to do with my hands. It's, what am I doing up here? He's just so confused with this current position.
I think he's just going to defend it for all he's worth, and we saw him racing very cleanly. I think he's potentially done a lot of practice for this event, and he deserves to be in that position. He clawed his way up through the field. He did not start in P12, but he did end there. So this is going to be a really exciting one.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. No, there is a lot of pressure. We've got McInnes, who starting in P12, who won the race. What do we think, chat? He was the most consistent man on track for the last race. Where do we think he might be able to claw himself up to?
I don't know, it's hard to bet against him for the win. There's a couple of guys ahead of him that are pretty quick, but I don't think anybody is really going to challenge him.
This is the final corner, so who wants to take it away for race 2?
Give it to Glenn. I did this
Oh,
Go for it, Glenn. It's all
okay,
you.
good luck. So I got Bender, bringing us towards the green light.
Green light, show them where
This
you go.
corner's going to be interesting, and we're off. Bender cutting across. We've got a spinner.
Taylor.
Taylor.
Who wasn't Bender?
Tried
Bender's
to
in
do a
P2.
bit of a dive there. We've got Bender, Nulty, Mitchell. We've got all 2x2, a couple of 3 wides trying to get through.
There's another
Somebody's
Lexus
got a spin
round.
back there. No
Man.
safe car as yet.
Not yet. So unfortunately, there was one car off. That's Pignata having an early dive. He's really trying to make his way through the field. Nice and early. But not a great start for Bender. He had a car way up on the inside, who unfortunately ended up spinning, but he did
that's
lose
fine.
position with Bender. Oh, and that was a dangerous re-entry. He's pulled himself back onto the curb, and he has slammed into another car as they came around on the apex.
I think that was on Fleet, who just got on the loud pedal a little bit too early on. Ooh, nice little drift in there. Got on the loud pedal a little bit too early, and the rear end just came around. He saved it, but unfortunately overcorrected a little bit and made contact.
Unfortunately, you know the rules here. You need to jump on the brakes. If you spin, you need to hold those brakes. You can't be accelerating and try and get back on track. You know it's disappointing. I'm sure we'll probably get some more footage of that later on. Bendai with the fastest lap so far. Not that that's saying much. It is 1:42.
McInnes up to P7 already after lap 1, so it's slicing through the field. And just to answer Virtus's question, the AMs, there's no separate championship for them in finals. I think they compete with the Pro-Ams, basically. They invited as wildcards just to celebrate them winning their splits.
I answered that question before, Virtus. Yeah, they're invited as wild cards. So not all the AMs are invited. Just those deemed worthy of the Pro-Am finals been invited to this round, and so far we're doing very well. We have an AM driver in P2 currently. think Zach James is really he's liking the look of the back of that Aston right now. So I think he's going to be wanting to make some early moves. So he's potentially one of the faster guys up the front at the moment, because our race leaders from the previous race, McKenna's currently P7. He's made his way up from P12s. That's 5 positions so far. You've got Fowler, who had a bit of a unlucky run, currently sitting P6. So that's not going to be easy for McKenna's, because they were battling right at the beginning. Mitchell, who started P4, I believe, for this race. Currently, he's lost a few positions. He's back in P8, but he's holding his own. Thistlethwaite back in P10, so he started P14 because he qualified P2. And that is Pignata, I believe, who's taken a little look up the inside of Convoy. And he's now got the better run, so he's going to have a good run through here. He's going to try the outside, which is not the best place to be on. And the car next to him is going to have the inside for the next corner, so he isn't going to get it here. But he's definitely making it difficult for Thistlethwaite. And McConnell just wants a piece of this as well, so looks like they all get clean exits through here. So nobody's got an especially great run. Pignata might be close enough for an ambitious dive, but I think they're going to stay line astern through this corner.
Just Braden Ross has made it up to P16 already. He started fair few positions down the field as well. But yeah, it's pretty clean racing so far. Some great side-by-side racing there. Thistlethwaite and Pignata going for the first sector.
See, Van Vliet spent quite a bit of time in the pits. Obviously got caught up in one of those early tangles and has had to have some damage repaired. Is unfortunately well back now.
Porsche that went around at turn 9 there, and then got elected on the exit.
Right.
That's unfortunate to see. Now we've got, this is, I believe, the Fowler and McKenna's battle. No, this is the battle for P1. This is Bendai and McNulty. So Bender has not he has not lost touch with that Audi. So he may have gotten overtaken, but he really wants that position back. Oh, and the Audi goes a little bit wide. McNulty staying clean, hits the apex well.
Also noted on the previous lap, Bender had the fastest lap of the race pop up for all of about 3 seconds, and then George Fowler took it off him. But that's something to take a picture of and send it to all the fans.
And we've just watched a replay of turn 1, and that was Taylor who did the dive up the inside, and he's come into contact with P1, and he was the one who spun off track. So if anything, you've got to be thankful that it was the person who made the mistake who suffered the consequences of that, rather than the Bendai, who was the one that he actually hit. So unfortunate for Taylor, but and we're back on to the start of the race. So we're looking midfield. We're looking at Tanyaki in the Lexus. So, a little bit of tag going on through here. And, okay, we've got around is Atanyaki in the Lexus, unfortunately. So that's why he's found himself at the back of the pack. And we're going to jump forward and watch what happens to Van Vliet. So as they're coming down towards turn 7, question mark, everything's looking good. So this, unfortunately, it looks like this is going to be the incident we saw at the start of the straight. So sitting behind Ross at the moment. Oh, he goes deep. Oh, unfortunately, he comes right up to the back. He's trying to go down the inside of the Lamborghini, a little bit squirrely, and he tags a Ferrari and ends up in the sand. And then he accelerates forward onto the track, which is just devastating for that Honda, it might be. That's particularly devastating, unfortunately. So that's what happened back there.
I was thinking that Ben Dyke's livery might look better at night, but it doesn't.
But you know what? I appreciate that we can see it. So
the International Space Station can see it. So
it doesn't look worse though.
Well,
I mean,
is that possible?
You know what? I'm a fan. Bendai, you go, girl.
I'm wrapped that Bender's effort here. He is just sticking with this Audi
Look at the yellow
Even
trim.
just the yellow trim on the wheels. I was just about to point that out. That is awful.
It's brilliant. What a legend. Yellow trim, a little bit of yellow on the rear wing, up on the door panel, a little bit on the back. Look at that.
We've got a little stereo now.
Two screens of it. That's exactly what they do.
Yes, it is. It's going to be the new cover car for OOR. Now, Zach James has not been able to make any further positions here, so these guys are really holding their own at the front. I'm really impressed with Bendai and Bender this round. And
They're really holding down here at the moment.
Medding's still 1.2 seconds behind, so it's not like, it's not like there's a bottleneck at the top of the field. They seem to be holding their own. Here's McInnes running a little bit wide through turn 3.
Big set there by Fowler, but that back there.
Side-by-side action is going to be great for McInnes. Watch him get a good run on both of these guys here. They both have to take compromise lines, so he is just going to floor it through here. Oh, they both get decent exits, to be honest. Look at the Pignata behind. He's coming in. He's coming up the left. He's going to take a dive on McInnes right now. And he's going to get it too. Pulls it in. Oh, he's got a Lamborghini. He's just cutting off his exit. So will he get in front? Yes, he has. So he might just cut back to the inside now to make sure McInnes doesn't dive back up there. Which he doesn't do. McInnes does dive back up the inside. Lamborghini's going to go around the long way, but McInnes has got that tighter line. But Lamborghini's also sitting behind his Lamborghini pal, getting the slipstream potentially, so he might actually just pull ahead of McInnes here, and he does as they enter the first kink of the back straight.
That's honestly fantastic racing.
That was really, really wonderful to watch. Oh, McInnes just goes a little bit wide. He might be up for a track limit there, and now we're seeing Convoy who's going to want to have a look there.
Right behind them is Whistlewaite, who's also rubbing his hands, waiting for some kind of drama to unfold. As we see McConnell with a 5-second penalty for contact. See that, but that's not what he would like to see.
Been a good night. Dragging, to be honest.
Brighton Ross with the fastest lap, so he seems to be figuring out this Bentley. Interesting to note, I mean, McInnes, he was by far the fastest man consistently in the first race, but after a very impressive opening lap, he hasn't made, in fact, he's lost position, but he's not looked like he's going to slice his way through the field.
That's right, it's everybody's driving very cleanly. Now, Zach James has managed to get himself into P2, and he's really hounding the back right now of Bendai. So we saw a little bit of squirreliness, I don't think that's a word, I'm going to use it anyway, squirreliness from Bender coming through the first few turns. So I think he made it happen right at the start of the lap. And they are, look at those top four, they've got to be what, a second apart? 0.4, 0.3, 0.4, that is excellent. That's what, 1.1 seconds. 0.3, 0.3, 0.3. They are pretty damn well within 1 second of each other. That is just, that's what you want to see. And
so you're saying they're within a second of each other?
Within, as in, all four of them within.
It's just the amount of math involved. I was getting confused, sorry.
Look, all right, I'm saying that they're within a second of each other.
Okay,
all
so
four,
they're racing very close.
They're close.
So P4 is about a second behind P1. That's the kind of stuff you want to see. This is a replay at the moment from Sanderson's point of view. Those Sandeezy's hitting. Oh no! That was unfortunately
Our portion of beers.
absolutely. There was nothing he could do there. He was just a passenger from that point. It reminds me of the F1
Mazepin on Russell.
Yeah. Glad you knew what I was talking about. I didn't even say. All I said was F1, and there could have been a multitude of incidents to talk about there. But
yeah, but it was likely to include Mazepin if it was an accident, so I took my chances.
True, but in this case,
it wasn't his fault.
Mazepin's defense, he absolutely could not have done anything to avoid that. So I'm for the first time ever defending Mazepin. Now we're watching Pig from Zach James' perspective. See, I keep seeing the purple tag on for the fastest lap and thinking we're on board with them.
Yep. Yeah, it does
oh, this looks like a little bit of a dive coming into the straight. That's a little bit too ambitious, and they are around.
Handed the lead to Bender.
That is Bender in the lead, and it looks like he's going to be back in P10. That's Bendai. I mean, it's hard not to be able to see him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, somewhere back there. I'm sure the timing board can tell us. Oh, side
Away from Meetings. This is not a place you want to be side by side. Somebody has to give. Nobody does, but Meetings has to leave the track there, so he'll have to give that up.
That's the second time we have seen Ferox there, Cameron Thistlethwaite, up the inside of that turn and pulling it up very successfully, and the other car going around the outside and not being, catapulted off the track. So, again, just really impressed with all the Pro-Am drivers.
For sure. I think we might see Zach James getting a penalty, so he's going to be wanting to push to get past Bender here and maybe try and build a gap. But
This is great news for them,
fantastic news.
because he's got a little defense horse behind him who can hold off the other cars, who is not a threat to him for the lead at the, or not at the moment at least. We can expect that there will be some sort of penalty. We'll leave that up to the stewards, but here it is again. A little dive. He sees there's a little bit of a gap, throttles it up a little bit mid-corner. Unfortunately, it's just not enough space there to make that happen and to be able to turn in to avoid that contact. So I don't think it was particularly. Are we live? Yeah, I thought we'd cut back to a replay.
Who was that? Was Ross in the Lambo who got hit by? It seemed like, I want to say, Meetings. Yeah, maybe.
Let's not assume yet, but it is Mettings who's the back McLaren on the timing board, so I think that must be. And that is Ross into the sand. What kind of craziness do we come back to? Ross is dropping down the positions. Hopefully he comes back on track without losing too many. But the field is look at the track map. That field is very bunched up. I mean, that's what happens in a reverse grid. You've got faster cars behind slower cars, and there's not sort of a big spread because everybody's constantly battling. But that's the kind of race everybody wants to watch.
Zach James, 10 seconds.
There it is.
Not too surprising. I saw McInnes in all the drama. He dropped down to 9th, but he's back up to 7th again now. So as we see, I think that was Fowler who went a bit deep there, almost gave Convoy an opportunity, but Thistlethwaite smells a dive and gets a good run out of turn 6. Looking for this end, but Convoy doing well with the defense, going on round outside. That's a very brave move. Doesn't quite work out. Convoy and Fowler still side by side coming into this turn where you do not really want to be on the outside, but you can fake the guy ahead into running a bit deep. Guinness, he's going to be looking at getting some moves done sooner rather than later.
We'll see here what the toe's like for the McLaren. This is McInnes behind Thistlethwaite. We know that McInnes is very, very quick here, but we also know that Thistlethwaite, who has, by the way, come from P14 to overtake McInnes and be currently in P6. So let's not underestimate how well this drive is going from Ferox today, as Bender is actually pulling away from Zach James as well. So if you thought that Bender was not going to be able to hold his own out the front, you were sorely mistaken, because the last couple of sectors we've seen, he has pulled a half a second further ahead of Zach James.
You see Meetings there with a 15-second penalty. I think that was for the hit on Ross there. 2 laps to go. The stealth McLaren.
I was going to say, whoever answered the call from Bender for a setup 5 minutes before the first race, they want to be asking him to get him a few beers, I would think, because I don't think he would have expected to be in this position, and it's not even raining.
Now, he did lose 4/10 on one of the... That's right, it's not even raining. He did lose 4/10, so he's had a little moment somewhere, but he's still nearly a second in front of Zach James, as we ride on board with what I can only assume is Pignata, because no one else is lit up. So I assume he's red and purple at the same time, and yes, that is definitely Zach James's car. I think Pignata knows that if he holds it together, he is potentially on for a win as well. So it is all up for grabs at the moment for those top few cars. And you don't forget, you've got Fowler behind, who was really quick before his unfortunate accident in race 1 as well. And he is chasing them down. He's only a second behind. Oh, and hang on, what's happened to Thistlethwaite back in P11, McInnes P5? We've got a replay here, and we're on board with Convoy. So that's Thistlethwaite behind. So it looks like, unfortunately, Thistlethwaite has tagged Convoy from behind, sent Convoy around, who has got himself off the track. Great work from Convoy to get himself out of the way there. And he's letting all the cars pass him because he knows that's all he can do without causing another incident.
That is probably one of the worst spots on this track where you can be spun around, because you know the whole pack is going to pass you before you can safely rejoin.
And that's a Fowler on the outside for Pignata, who's really going to force his way to stay up the inside there. Fowler holds it in close, wanting to stay on the outside to get the inside for this corner. He doesn't quite get it. And he gets a little bit of a slower run than the Lambo, but there must have been a moment there for Pignata, because that happened all of a sudden. He dropped back a second to Fowler. Well, he dropped it back a second from Zach James into the clutches of Fowler. So I think he's had a moment in turn one.
I think Zach James would be enjoying that, because that gives him a bit more free air to just try and attack Bender without worrying about the potential overtake from behind.
Some more bad luck there. Unfortunate for Thistlethwaite, who's been fast, but unfortunately got himself involved in an incident there with Convoy, who's got the short end of the stick though, and he's back in P20. So you've got to feel for Jamie there. That's not the place you want to be when you're running so high in the race.
Thistlethwaite almost into the back of Ross there, and the other Ross follows the other Ross through it.
Braden Ross up to P12.
Way too many Rosses.
But both are doing really well, and Dave McNulty, he's 4 tenths ahead of Zach James at the moment, who is doing him a favor by staying in there behind, protecting him from Pignata in P3. So there's 10 minutes left on the board, and he is still in P1. This is a 30-minute race, and he has been up there for the last 20 minutes. So this is a hell of a race from David McNulty right now.
He's definitely not showing any signs of cracking under the pressure. So, I mean, and Zach James is pouring as much of it as he can on, and Bender is just asking for more. So, yeah, I think Zach James is going to have to pull something very special out of the bag to get past him.
Well, right now, Zach James has got himself a 10-second penalty, and if my maths is correct, which it definitely isn't, and that's why I'm using the pit wall to tell me, that would put him quite a long way back, because everybody is still quite bunched up. So that would currently put him back behind car 717, who's in P13. That's how far back he will drop at the moment. 10-second penalty.
Quite a big impact on, as we see at the front there. It seems like Zach James ran a bit wide. Pignata is now in front of him, so Zach James must have had a bit of an incident, as he's defending from Fowler as well.
Oh, Pignata goes very wide through the final corner, and this is the true battle now. So there are no penalties for these guys. It's Dave McNulty versus Matthew Pignata. So this is going to be a hell of a battle to watch. This is a very cool race to be watching right now. And this is the replay.
Yeah, sorry.
JP, go for it.
No, I was going to say we did ask for an exciting race, and that Pro-Am finalists are delivering. 3 wide into T9 is never a good idea. And Dick backs out of it a little bit, and then a little bit of a send
again.
It was never going to work out very well.
That is really, really unfortunate to see. So we nearly have another one. No, we don't. I think this is this the replay, or is this just genuinely Zach James versus Pignata? Dave McNulty is willing them to battle, willing them to fight, as it looks like Zach James gets a better run onto the straight, so he is right behind Pignata now. He's in that slipstream, so he is challenging. He wants that position back, even though he won't retain it with the 10-second penalty. He's going to help Bender potentially hold this P1 position. So Pignata really wants to get himself ahead of that Aston Martin if he can, to save himself from the Zach James, who is very, very quick racer.
And McInnes in all of that McInnes and McConnell got past Mettings as well. So McInnes up into P5 now.
Bender
At the back of Bender.
racing very, very clean. So, and somebody said in chat, so that pretty sure Bender won F1 as well. Is that true? He won the F1 race this week. Somebody else confirm. I won't believe just the one person, but if I get a a secondary confirmation.
I think there was a confirmation from Paul Kranich that said he did. So.
Oh, was it?
Like
He did? Ah, yes, he did. Okay. Where's the 30 kilos Bender, says Philippa. I think Bender would be wishing for a 30 kilos on Pignata right about now, but Bender is he's holding his lines very tight. He is McNulty fresh off a wet race win on Sunday. So we got his wet race win. He's always saying how good he is, and he showed it. He is racing very clean.
Yeah, he's placing his car very strategically. I don't think he's faster than the guys behind him for sure, but he's just putting the car where it makes an overtake all the more unlikely to happen, and sticking to his lines, not missing any braking zones, and just being very consistent with the team. So I think very well. As we see Sandeezy with a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That was most likely for repairing damage, I guess, after his severe impact with Van Vliet earlier.
So Pignata is, I mean, they're all running in, so 35.6 plays in 35.7, so McNulty 35.6, but that will be because they're battling, so they're effectively doing the same lap times. Having a look at their best laps earlier in the race, car 3.23, I can't see what their actual best lap was.
They had the fastest lap of the race.
Oh, he does have the fastest lap of the race. Oh, okay, well, I can see what that was then. Where we got purple lap, where is it? Purple lap for 3.23, 1:35.1. So that's only 5/10 quicker than they are doing right now, lap by lap, including defending. So McNulty has got the pace. He's got the pace to win this race. And yes, the rhyme was intentional.
If you're waiting for praise, you're going to be waiting for one. Not up very close to the end of the day, coming out of T9, gets a good run.
He knows he's going to have to defend through here because I wouldn't put it past Pignata to have a look up the inside and give it a shot. So Bender's going to have to pull it in tight here if he wants to stay in front of the Lamborghini, make him go around the long way, and he does. He holds a tight line. He's going to have to make sure he brakes early. Don't go too deep through here, otherwise that Lamborghini's going to try and dive up the inside. Really clean from
Very nicely done.
Dave McNulty. And look how close the top 5 cars are. I'm not even going to say how close they all are because actually I am.
Within a second.
It's 1.5 seconds between the top 5 cars. So that is...
P6 is about to join in as well.
Look at that race control with the big boggly eyes, because look at this. Look how great this racing is. So we've got McNulty in P1, Pignata in P2, Zach James, he's currently in P3, but unfortunately he's going to drop further down the field. Fowler and McInnes, who I believe started 1 and 2 or 1 and 3 in the first race behind that. So you've got some quick runners there. And then McConnell and Ross, Braden Ross, who was at the back of the field for this race. I believe he started like P20 or something for this race. He's currently in P7.
With 20 seconds of
Okay, let's ignore that. On track, he is currently P7. So despite the penalty, that is a great run.
Right there. Definitely misses braking, and you can see there Fowler gets through, and McInnes is gonna see if he can get through as well. Not this time. Ooh,
Around the outside. Almost left a gap for McInnes up the inside. In fact, McInnes got a little bit of run, a little bit twitchy on the exit, but it looks like he's going to stay in front. Zach James is, that is. And they've formed their own little battle pack now, and they've actually separated from Pignata and McNulty, which is going to be bad news for Bender up front. So he's going to really be hoping. Oh, look how tight he holds that.
Oh, Pignata around the outside of Bender.
Yes, it is.
And that does not work out well. Bender's still keeping it clean, keeping it fast enough to stay ahead. He is sweating buckets at the moment, I have to imagine. But he is doing very well.
Sorry, JP. Now you've got Fowler chasing Pignata. So this is Oh, what a run. Have a look at this. This is Zach James up on Fowler. So he's really... Oh, no.
Contact.
Oh, a little bit deep. I actually wouldn't know how to characterize that one. It looks like... Well, Fowler made the corner, but they did touch. That was Fowler on the inside and Zach James on the outside of turn 1. So we'll see what happens there.
So I think James is lucky there not to get a drive-through with the new track limits implementation around here.
Of course, it might be... Oh, as we see...
wide.
Is that McInnes?
Yep.
As wide as you dare. Now, and again, Bender is not liking that these cars are dropping back, so come on, Fowler, where are you? As the timing board still says Zach James is ahead, but ignore that because he is currently in P4. That is him in the gold behind the McLaren of Fowler. Oh, and that's Bender wide. Bender way too wide, and that's a change for the lead. So, but he's got a good run.
I
he
think
must have been
Pignata
tagged.
maybe hit him and let him back through there.
It looks like he did. He's definitely redressed that because the Lamborghini's not that soft the mark. But he's going to lose He's going to lose P2 now, and that is so close. And he might even lose the position.
On one James, on Pignata,
Zach
there's
James.
violence.
Oh, I picked a
Tags.
lousy
Oh,
night
it's
to
gone.
give up heroin.
Pignata shatters that marker board, and unfortunately Zach James has collided with the back of Pignata coming down the back straight, and Pignata has lost that second, not only the second position, but he's back down to P6 or 7 at the moment.
Okay, the leader is on the final lap now.
So there must have been some collision that happened before the straight because he has let off and he has let Bender back through, and unfortunately in the process of that he's invited Fowler up the inside. And then you've got Zach James trying to capitalize on the other side. But now Dave McNulty has Fowler to contend with, and if the qualifying times from race 1 have anything to tell us, it's that this is potentially an even harder person to be racing against than the Lamborghini of Pignata from before. So Bender is being put through his paces.
Good news for Bender is this is the final lap, so
This has been so crazy, I didn't even realize that we're on the final lap. But look, he's on the outside right now. This is the final lap. Oh, and that might have been a better inside run, but no, Bender runs wide. Coming onto the final straight on the final lap, and he slips into P2. He's held P1 since early in the race, and this is his last opportunity. He's got a little bit of a run here. This is his last opportunity to maybe even retain that P1. So we're not going to want to miss this battle. He goes for a dive, and he does send it, and he pulls it up too. So he doesn't even do a silly dive. But you've got, he's got the McLaren of McInnes on the outside. He's racing against the top Pro-Am guys. Dave McNulty is a wildcard Am entry. Fowler has put on an amazing race, and he's come back to win the race. But look at that, there's not even a 10th in it, and McNulty's going to come home barely in P2. McInnes in P3, McConnell in P4, Pignata in P5. Well, we'll see what the corrective positions are there, because McConnell and Pignata, Ross and James all have penalties. We'll see what happens there. But Fowler and McNulty come across the line 0.09 seconds adrift. McNulty nearly holds on to win in the Pro-Am finals. That was an amazing race.
I will say I'm happy I don't have an Apple Watch because it would have contacted the emergency services with the way my heart rate's going after the end of that race. That was nasty.
We're going to re-watch the final. So this is the overtake here on the final lap from Fowler. Gets it up the inside, but McNulty is not giving up. Have a look at this. He's got the slipstream. He pulls it in. He knows what he's going to do. He knows that inside braking mark. He's done it every other lap to defend. And look at this. Up the inside, he pulls it up. He makes sure not to make contact. That is a hard thing to do. It is one thing to send it up the inside there. It is another thing to be able to pull it up.
And
Bender,
to put it up in such a way that you don't lose out to the guys who are a couple of tenths just behind you as well. So fantastic racing there.
and look, he gets a better run out of the final corner. He's got a little bit of slipstream. He gets alongside before the line. You could not hope for a better finish to a race, let alone it being Bender, who won F1 this week and led most of the race for Pro-Am finals against arguably significantly faster drivers. But I mean, he's proved that that's not even the bloody case. He had who was it behind him? He had Zach James behind him, who we know is a quick driver, for half of the race. Then he fought for a while against Pignata. Then he fought against Fowler. And he even had McInnes on his back from P2 at the end of the race. So humongous props to Dave McNulty. I'm sure he'll be disappointed to lose the lead on the final lap, but he better be bloody proud of himself and bloody happy with where he's ended up in this race.
Yeah, that was definitely a praiseworthy performance by Bender there for sure. I mean, you generally, when you see an AM driver start on pole, you don't necessarily expect them to compete for the win, especially when you have drivers who are so fast behind them. But he did everything right apart from a very tiny mistake on the final lap, which cost him one position. But I don't think he needs to be disappointed in the second position though, because that was a great performance by him.
Absolutely. And so Fowler has made his way back from, just have a look, where did he start? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's 6 up to win. So let's not underestimate how fantastic that drive was, because he fought with the best drivers of this field to get to that position. And he did the overtake on the final corner, and there was not a lot of room. Dave McNulty was holding those lines very well, and he found the space and got up there. So huge props to Fowler for that win today. And driver of the day has got to go to Dave McNulty. It's not a one-man voting system, so I can't.
No, I don't think you'll get many arguments.
I don't think so as well. So, all right, we've got race 1. So this is race 1. McInnes from Convoy, Pignata are your top 3 for race 1. Race 2, Fowler, McNulty, McInnes. So that'll be a round win for McInnes. But remember, McNulty is the AM driver of this field. So that is an absolutely fantastic drive.
Yeah, I think McInnes will be very happy with his performance overall through the 2 races, because he's most of his close competitors had at least one race where they didn't perform as well as last week, so he would have extended his gap ever so slightly.
I suspect. Sorry,
No, I was just going to say the first and the third, yeah, he's definitely extended that lead.
well, considering he was he P2? Can somebody in chat might know? Was he P2 last week?
As far as I remember, yes.
Was he was up there. I know he was definitely up there. So if that's the case, he will for sure be in currently leading the Pro-Am Championship. If we can confirm that, I don't want to say that for certain, but I think McInnes with a great couple of races, a win and a P3, was it?
Yep.
Fantastic result, and he's going to be leading the Pro-Am Championship coming into the final round, which is going to be our top 5 last week. So Braden Ross, then McInnes, Van Vliet, Thistlethwaite, and McConnell. Okay, so those were the top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Braden Ross, who didn't have himself a great run, he finished outside of the top 12, I know, for the first race, and I know he clawed his way back up into the top 10, but he unfortunately had a penalty there too. I think it was like 20 seconds, so that wouldn't have been pretty. So, of those who got the top 5 last week, Braden Ross, not a great run for him today. McInnes, the clear winner of the round. Van Vliet, I do not know where I believe he was also in the qualifying, so he did not finish in the top 12 for the first race. Thistlethwaite had a great run, but unfortunately had some. He got himself involved in an incident in this second race. So, and McConnell, I think he did pretty well as well. I think I saw them both with penalties, potentially in both races.
Yeah, McConnell did very well recovering in both races, but I think his performance was slightly negated with the penalties that he got, dropping him down from obviously good track position. So yeah, if he could have avoided some of the incidents, I think he would have done very well gaining some positions in the championship.
Now, that is a week done for the Pro-Ams. So we have the Pro Finals tomorrow night. So tune in, same time. We're going to, at 7:45, we'll be going live to the qualifying for the pre-race, for the support race. 8:30, Australian Eastern Standard Time is going to be the time for the Pro Finals qualifying. Sorry?
I was going to say GT4s tomorrow for the support race.
Oh, is it? Fantastic. So if you're not racing tomorrow, get in for the support race. Make sure you watch for the pro finals. But that's going to be it for tonight. That was another amazing round for Pro Am finals. I can't wait for final round, which is going to be next week at Spa.
Yeah, no, that was fantastic. I mean, we asked for a race as exciting as last week, and Pro-Ams decided it wasn't quite exciting enough last week. They'll up the ante a little bit, so I'm just very excited to see what happens in Spa next week.
I'm also very excited. It was a pleasure on comms with you guys again today. That was another fantastic round.
Great call there to Samwise in that last few laps. Certainly had us all on the edges of our seats.
What an incredible race. I'm very happy to have been a part of it. Thanks so much for being here with me, JP and Glenn. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We've kept you long enough. Go and have a good night. And you better be in the next week because I'm certain we're in for a thrilling finale. Catch you tomorrow for Pro Finals. See you next time.
Good night, all. Good night, chat.